See, this Ringmaster's got style by the pound. I'll have to look up his fashion influences. One thing you can't deny is his wheels are one of a kind. And it's just this way. Dim Carnival.
What's up, everybody? Back to the...
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're full of ding-dongs. We're ready to talk about part 2 of the Ringmaster as we continue our journey into falling in love with Insane Clown Posse all over again and getting matching ICP face tattoos. So this week we're talking about tracks 6 through 11. We're talking about Get Off Me Dog, Who Asked You, The Dead One, My Fun House, For the Maggots, and Wagon Wagon. And next week we shall finish off the Ringmaster and move on to I don't want to say bigger things, but undoubtedly better things.
We just discussed this, right? The last episode about how this is an amazing journey because it's just going to get better and better and better. Music just gets better.
And then it's going to not get better maybe at some point. But maybe it will. Who knows? But we're talking about Get Off Me Dog.
Motherfucker tweak, gotta tweak while you tweak. Dale guys, willikers, me oh my oh me, get off me, dog, before I sting your chin. I let my nutsack flap in the wind, cause I'm too dope, clown love OG, and it's one chop, 2 point, boom, chop, 3 in the melon.
Which has, this is entirely a 2Dope song, if I'm not mistaken.
So that's the first note that I wrote. Is this the first Shaggy 2Dope centric song?
I think so.
It's like the first one that's just all him. I mean, he's not on most of the first album. So.
Yeah, unless I missed something, I'm pretty sure this is the first solo Shaggy track.
All right. Excellent.
I'm going to just double check to make sure that it is the shortest song on the album. And it is tied for the shortest song.
There's a couple short songs on this album. I feel like
short songs on the album, yes.
Well, so Beverly Kills, every track was 3 songs, and they learned their lesson, and they said so instead we'll just right. We should have maybe not had a whole song here. It's only a minute long. Okay.
Lesson learned.
Well, the first thing I want to say is the hook, the music hook, the bass line or whatever, the jazz guitar. Is it a guitar? Is it a bass? I don't know.
Indeed is it.
It's so great. It's got a good, nice, funky thing. So it's apparently the track was sampled, or was sampling a song called Trigger Happy by a rapper named Spice One.
Huh. And
by sample, I mean they just took the whole beat from that song and just looped it.
That's what sampling is.
Right.
That's right. That's what original rapping was. That's what original rap music was. They're like, this is a cool song, and they just took the lyrics off and made a song.
So if you go listen to Trigger Happy by Spice One, it's a decent song.
But this song's only a minute 47 of looping that song, so that's probably covered by copyright law. They're probably okay.
I'm sure they obviously got away with it.
Fine.
But yeah, here we have Shaggy 2Dope. Shaggy 2Dope's whole philosophy on life, right? Like,
get off me.
Yeah, right. Just basically, this whole song is about him just demanding that you let him be who he is, right?
And it also lays out his entire life philosophy.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Because he's always fucking big fat bitches named Pam.
It's just how. And you know what? He says that in such a way, like it's just the way his life worked out. This is...
Yeah. They're just all named Pam. I didn't plan it that way. Steve, what are your
is Stuart Frankie, when he says fuck Stuart Frankie, is that...
Clown singer?
A lounge singer from the 70s?
So what I'm going to just do is, if there just happens to be a little bit of Stuart Frankie that comes in, maybe for the benefit of our listeners, I don't know, just to hear a few seconds of what a Stuart Frankie might sound like. Yeah, he's the singer. He's kind of one of these big band pop, like swelling, emotional kind of song singers.
Like Barry Manilow or something?
Yes. There you go.
Like Wayne Newton, who they've given 2 fucks out to so far at this point in their repertoire.
It's amazing that you can do that without having heard it, but yes, you're right on.
I'd like to point out that this song, in addition to spelling out Shaggy's ethos, lists all of the things that his nutsack does, because it jiggles, it shrivels, and it crawls up his booty.
Only when it's cold.
Only when it's cold.
But then it gets chased out by the booty hole bug, who we'll meet later in the album.
Right, it's a little bit off-putting at first that he's so nonchalantly... Right. He says it's so, obviously that's where his nuts, when it's cold, they go up there, but then, the booty hole bug isn't going to have that.
But he also does let his nutsack flap in the wind, which is a really good... a very good visual.
And this is what I thought you were going to say earlier, which is earlier when you said that it is expressing his philosophy. What I'm alleging is that it encompasses his being. This is all there is to Shaggy 2 Dope. There's no extra layers of this guy.
Yeah.
This is it. It's about, 20% nutsack as a song? So
yeah. And it's got... the outro is the hook repeating about 14 times.
Yeah, I love that ICP tradition.
And we'll get into a much longer outro later in the album. But
and the outro also has 2 people fighting over who gets to be Shaggy 2 Dope.
That's true. That's really good. Yes. Let's play ICP. I'll be 2 Dope. So what's awesome is that it's like almost like children fighting, and people are on him so much, and he gets so little respect and wants people to get off him, dog, that even when 2 Dope is playing ICP with his friends, sometimes he doesn't get to be 2 Dope.
Yep.
So the next track is Who Asked You?
Drink my last, jump a dead body stew. Paint my face, creep up and say boo. Nobody knows what I'm about. Walk around town with my guts hanging out. Chewing on toes, fucking dead hoes. Bark at the moon every time the wind blows. Why do I do the things that I do? Who are you? Fuck you and fuck Jerry Lou.
Guys, is he saying Wicked Clowns in the opening of this song? Because I think he's saying Wicked Kleins.
Yeah, I thought he was saying Wicked Times.
Or are you saying we get clients? We get clients? We get clients. We get clients? We get clients.
Sure. I think it's probably all of those things. We get clients. Well, but before the song starts, it starts with a very brief skit.
Yes.
Which is, that's 2 Dope, right? Pretending to be...
I'm sex operator!
I'm hot and horny!
Yes. The best sketches are the one-liners.
Right, and it's apropos of nothing. Doesn't go with the story or anything. It's just...
Yeah, it doesn't fit the song.
Here we go. Now we're going to do this thing.
Just, we have nowhere else to put this thing that we recorded and we thought was super funny.
So, in this song... So, listen to this song... And reading the lyrics, and he says, "Fuck Jazzy Jeff, fuck Jack Jones."
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, well, I know who Jazzy Jeff is. Who's Jack Jones? So I looked up Jack Jones, and it turns out that he's a kind of loungy pop singer from the 70s, from the early 70s. And I had also been looking up other information about this album, like songs that are sampled on the different tracks. And there's something interesting that I noticed is that a lot of the music that they talk about, the artists that they name, and the songs that they sample are from the same kind of time period and the same genre, rock and pop. And I think that later on in later songs, I think that lends to a theory that I've developed about this album.
Go on. Or do you want to get into it?
I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm going to talk about it later.
Okay. Do you think that if this is part of your theory, like by all means hold off on it. But do you think that it's possible that they're saying fuck yous to all of these lounge singers throughout this album because like their parents had a bunch of like lounge albums and they hated them?
Okay, so yeah, we can talk about it now. Yeah, I think that I feel like this album is like Violent J kind of telling that he's been created by this music. And so there's songs that he samples from things that he took away that he liked, and the stuff that he didn't like, they're saying fuck you. And so to me, it kind of evokes this like higher image that the carnival is actually the music, like that these songs are like about his life. The subtext is that it's like how it created his personality, the music that he was influenced by, and that gave him a voice to tell his story, like to spread his message or whatever. And so it's like the real thing that's the carnival that brought about all the change and like ideas and stuff was this music that he was influenced by as a kid.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I like that they're manifesting that by saying like, fuck your parent, like fuck my parents' music that I don't like. Like this is their killing in the name of, but for their parents.
Funny that you should mention that because they sample Rage Against the Machine later. But before we get too far away from Jack Jones, if anybody's interested, they could go listen to I Wish You Love. It's a great representation of that fella.
Guys, I just gotta say this song, Who Asked You? The flute fucking kills me. Like, I like this song a lot just because the flute just destroys me. It's so funny all the way through the song. Like, the verse has a specific flute part, and then there's a different flute part that loops, but both of them are equally hilarious to me.
Well, I really appreciate a lot of the imagery in this, especially the first verse with Jay being in this like scuzzy motel, having sex with this lady, and then the husband gets in there, and and he's got his finger in her butt, and for some reason that evokes a strawberry shake, and his butt is moving up and down, you know, and the guy's probably so mad. It's such a non-threatening, like that's a horrible situation that he described. But somehow when he says it, you're like, that's kind of sweet. That's funny. It's a clown butt.
And the moving his butt cheeks up and down goes straight into like such free association. Like he's moving his butt cheeks up and down. Nate the Mac and Jump Steady, Rude Boy Regis, Kathy Lee. I make rap rhymes and make quick bucks, and everybody sucks my nuts. Shucks. Like, it's so good, but it doesn't make any sense. And I love that, like, the song literally starts with him talking about eating a dead body. and it starts with him, like, eating his last cup of dead body stew, and then, like, walking around town with his guts hanging out, fucking dead hoes, and then fucking your mother in the Motel 8, and then, like, sort of halfway ending it with, like, everybody sucks my nuts, shucks. Yep. It's a good taste of what they're all about.
So Google Play Music is where I'm looking at lyrics right now, and they're telling me they're saying wicked rhymes, wicked times.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, hey, there you go. That sounds much more like what they're saying than wicked clowns.
Because that's actually the words of the chorus.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't see that, but I was going to bring that up because I thought I always heard wicked times. I didn't really necessarily hear what the other thing was saying in the intro like that, but I thought they were just saying wicked times over and over again. It's like most things when I listen to ICP, I don't really care. I'm just hearing it, and I'm like, yes, that's something I'm listening to. And so, like, a lot of things, like, I never paid attention to the lyrics unless they finally if I listened to a song so many times, it finally just get pounded into my head, and I just kind of memorize them that way. But, like, most of these songs, before we've done this project, I never really paid attention to what they were saying.
Yeah.
I would say that's true of almost every song on this album. But I am sometimes surprised when I do know lyrics to songs and it's like, oh, that was on this song?
Yeah, exactly. I love him growing another head and having it cut off, but they're still cool. And I also really like, it's like little tiny moments that really stand out to me as like, oh, that's what ICP is. And it's the second person coming in, or the second voice that he does coming in when he says, found a body in the bathtub. Grub.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. That grub, like, also like him talking about packing a pink Glock, and also his ding-a-ling swinging when he runs down the block.
Well, we know that he, like, in canon never wears clothes. So.
No, he's always butt naked. This is the song where they have their second fuck Wayne Newton, and in the context, it does sound like they still think that Wayne Newton is a country act. Like, they haven't learned that since the first album.
Well, I think that they're specifically referencing Wayne Newton in 1973.
Okay.
Because I don't know what happened in 1973. Violent J was like a year old. But something happened in 1973 that was important, and that's why there's all these songs.
Yeah, dropped on a Wayne Newton album.
That's right.
Wayne Newton album killed his mom.
Oh, and my last note on this song is that the outro features more horrible scratching.
Yep, there we go. Let's repeat the chorus and scratch out for the last minute of this song. Drop it.
Wiki, wiki, wiki.
Well, you're terrible.
No, let's talk about the dead one.
Okay. All right, dead one.
Guess it all began when a bullet finally struck and I walked away harmless. It must have been good luck, or maybe I'm dead.
I'm sorry, but you're dead.
Maybe I oughta go.
I love the tone that they create in this. This is the second song on the album I feel that is actually like spooky and creepy in a horror movie sense, as opposed to like icky to listen to, like a Carnival of Carnage sense. They create a really good atmosphere here. I also feel like it's a great concept for a song where the first person narrator of the song isn't sure whether he's dead. And it's one of the few times that I believe early ICP sticks the landing of the concept throughout an entire song.
Hell yeah, man. This song fucking rules. I fucking love this song, man. I felt like what you said, same thing. I was thinking of like this like kind of 90s The Crow kind of mood that they really did well. And that's another thing that I think that they do later on in the album is mix in where in Carnival of Carnage it was a lot of influence of early 90s rap. In the early 90s also was the start of grunge, and they start bringing in like that kind of stuff too, because they understand that their style needs to be fluid for the kind of music that they like.
I also wanted to point out famous first that this is the first Egyptian influenced track musically, which is going to be a real heavy recurring theme.
Okay, but there's a reason for that, Bill, and I'm really excited to tell you why.
Okay.
Okay. So, listening to this album, I was really into it, and certain questions started coming up about like I wanted to like what was a sample that I was hearing or whatever? Where did this music come from? So I started doing more research on the internet, and I found a website called Who Sampled. And this website, I only looked at the Ringmaster, actually. I didn't go any further than that. But they list all of the songs that are sampled, and it was crazy to me because Ringmaster is a kind of obscure album in the grand scheme of things, even though I understand this album went gold, right? It's the first gold record.
That can't possibly be true.
This album went gold, Bill, when it was re-released, like in 1999 or something like that. It went gold. But anyway, so tons of great samples on this record from some pretty amazing bands that I had never heard of before. And so I definitely spent like an hour the other night listening to progressive rock band from the 70s called Gong. So this track samples a song by Gong called Celine, and I highly recommend that everybody go and listen to it, because this song is incredible, and Gong is fucking amazing. So go listen to Gong. They're a rad progressive rock band. They play these like 11-minute long songs that have really slow and dramatic builds and gnarly drum patterns and incredible guitar solos, and almost every song has a trumpet, I think. Yeah, completely incredible. Master Builder, A Sprinkling of Clouds. These are amazing Gong songs that you all should listen to.
Do you think that they sampled it because it was kind of obscure and they wouldn't necessarily have to pay a whole lot for it, or pay for it, or...
It's outrageous. Well, the other thing that I just thought of, because I'm silly, is that this album was produced by Mikey Clark, right? So maybe it's Mike Clark that is doing this. You know, these are the sounds that he's influenced by.
It's almost certainly Mike Clark, right? Just bringing them tracks, and they're like, "Cool, man, you wrote that. That's awesome." Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, guys, sure."
I'm glad that we figured that out, because for the last 10 minutes I've been talking, and if anybody with a brain was listening, they were like, "Ryan, you're being an idiot." Well, that makes a lot more sense.
They're still responsible for the "fuck these lounge singers" stuff.
I guess maybe that's, maybe it's all connected.
Mikey Clark wrote all the lyrics. Mikey Clark is just a pseudonym for Violent J. We can't prove that he actually exists.
So one of the notes that I wrote about this, one of the early notes, is lyrical stylings by Jay. I feel like Violent J is really dancing on the pedals, as you would say, if you're racing a bicycle. He's up there out of the saddle and really laying it down.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a really solid song. Like, and again, like, it's such a solid concept, and it's such a spooky and like the tone of the song, the production perfectly matches the lyrical content. And it's almost like this is like a Dark Lotus track that happened like 10 years before Dark Lotus like existed.
Yeah, from toes to tip, man. Success.
And this is a Bart. And we'll get to Dark Lotus in 10 years, so that's fitting.
Well, and so the only other thing that I thought was really interesting about this is the idea of him saying that he doesn't want to die. Like, yeah. Even though it's almost like the character that he's rapping about is dead, but Violent J is saying, like, that could be me, but I don't want to actually live that life.
What are y'all's thoughts on the very end of this song?
Scary, man. Out of nowhere.
Steve, I just imagine, like, when I hear that, I just imagine Steve, like, cackling or chuckling deeply every time he hears the end of this song.
Well, this was a song I never listened to until we did this assignment. So I always skip this song.
Do you like it, or do you not like it?
I liked it this time because I was reading the lyrics. I want to know why you always skipped it before, because it was boring to you? Or? I didn't like the music. It was boring, yeah. I was just looking for something. Yeah. And so, yeah, I usually just skipped it. And but yeah, what drew me to it this time was that it wasn't. It's an ICP song in that, like, it's about death and confusion about, like, walking in these two worlds almost of being alive and dead and all these things. So that's typical, but it just was different because I never considered it. It's not Violent J. He's just like a character, like when he plays a crack character in other albums later on. It's not really Violent J, because he is a clown for the Dark Carnival, and this is not a Dark Carnival agent in this song.
We're definitely going to have like at least one entire podcast at some point talking about, like, what is and what isn't Violent J and what that even means.
Hell yeah, man. You could really go down the rabbit hole on that one.
Yeah, you really could.
So I guess save your notes on that one, as I will also be saving my notes on the concept of the unreliable narrator, and we'll get back to We'll have the full philosophical episodes of Insane Clown Posse.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ryan. We got a couple of emails that I wanted to respond to. We got another email from Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy? Bill mentioned last episode that the track sides are called Heckles and Macabre, and Jeremy wrote in to let us know that all of the Joker's cards, the 6 Joker's cards, have side names. And I wanted to let you guys know that the side names for Carnival of Carnage are Sanity and Insanity. We also got an email from friend of the show, Pete, who asked about the origins of the hatred of the South on the part of the clowns. And Violent J actually talks about it in his book, Behind the Paint, which I highly recommend everybody get actually the audiobook. It has a ton of extra content. It's like 24 hours of content. It's read by Violent J. It has guest appearances by everybody. But he mentions in the book that after dropping out of high school, he moved to North Carolina, where Jumpsteady had been living after enlisting in the army. He was living on Fort Bragg. And Violent J says in his book that this is the first time that he saw racism that he had only seen before in like movies or on television that he didn't think really happened anymore. So I guess that was a pretty profound experience for him, because when he came back to Detroit, he started writing songs about it. So thanks for the emails. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at dimcarnival@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at dimcarnival. Let's get back to the show. Thanks.
So we're moving on to My Funhouse, I believe.
You just made me think of a story of a coworker, which she quit now, but she was from Detroit, and she saw my the Hatchet Man tattoo, and so she was telling me, like, oh, I like those guys. They were really nice. She goes, I was standing in line at an amusement park, and she said these 2 guys were standing in front of her, and all these kids kept running up to them and like getting their autographs or just like hugging them and saying nice things to them, and then they would go away. And finally, she asked them, she's like, who are you guys? And they're like, we're the Insane Clown Posse. And she just thought they were the nicest guys. She never heard their music, has no idea what they sound like, even to this day. But it was hilarious.
She didn't know that they were the leaders of a horrible gang on the FBI watch list.
No.
We'll have to get into that on a separate podcast as well.
I will say that of my interactions with those fellas, they are very pleasant to be around.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude! Like, I ran into them at a wrestling convention. I saw them when they didn't have their makeup on, and I was like, holy shit! And they just like hung out and talked to me, and like shot the shit. And then later, I got pictures with them in makeup and met all their wrestlers they brought with them, and just nice dudes. Nice dudes.
Yeah, at the gathering of the Juggalos, in 2000, we were all in line to get in, and they kept moving us around, and we got moved, I think, 2 different times. They kept moving parts of the line to different entrances or whatever. And so at one point, they split off about 20 of us, and we're standing at this back entrance of this giant convention center or whatever. And we're standing there for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then this big long line of black trucks pulls up, and the one that pulls up right in front of us, the window rolls down, and it's Violent J, and they're like just arriving to the gathering of the Juggalos, and we're the first people that they see, and they're like, they literally roll down the window, what up, ninjas? Like 15 or 20 of us completely freak out, we're like screaming like, holy shit, oh my god, and then they're like, as the gate's rolling up, Violent J's like, we're gonna have fun or whatever, it's gonna be great, and they're like pulling into the garage.
It's awesome.
Yeah, super incredible.
I remember the first time I saw them, when we went to see them at the Maritime Hall in San Francisco, we were all standing in line, and the bus drove around the block, and Violent J like opened up the window, like leaned out and pointed a baseball bat at people, and everyone ran over to it.
And remember, we all ran up to the bus?
I didn't, but a lot of other people did.
I was so at that show.
Well, I felt like the whole
Ryan was super jaded.
I didn't even really. I was like, do I really want to be here?
Yeah.
And then as soon as the music started, and then it was incredible.
Yeah. You're like, nah!
Right. It just comes out of you.
Because you were like, me and Rob, you're gonna stand in the back.
I have had too much soda on me, Bill. I can't. You can't get covered in soda every single time.
No, it's just funny because like that's literally how I know you. Is you showed up wearing a sweatshirt, and I was like, I'm going to see them. You should come too. And you're like, okay. And so I had known you for like I had been talking to you for like maybe a week or two, and we all drove up together. And then like Steve and I were like so jazzed because it was our first ICP show. We're like, we're gonna go to the front, and you're like, me and Rob are gonna hang out back here. And then like a song and a half in, you were like right up next to us.
Right, I ran straight to the front as soon as the music started.
The same thing happened when we saw them years later in LA, and I wanted to go up front, and you hung back, and then you were like up there next to me a couple songs later.
Yeah,
you can't resist the pull, man. They're so good live.
Fuck yeah, they're so great.
They're such a good act.
I wish I could remember the quote, but you know, our friend of the podcast, Peter, I assume, has a great quote about how you just can't be sad at an ICP show.
Yeah, everyone who is there is happy to be there, and no one's like bumming out anybody else. Like no one's picking a fight with anybody. Everyone is there specifically because they love this one absurd thing, and it's like impossible to have a bad time. Just a bunch of fucking goofballs throwing soda around. Like, how can you be upset about that? And if anyone's listening to this and hasn't seen the Insane Clown Posse yet, if they're coming to your town, you buy a ticket, you pack a change of shirt, you put your phone in a Ziploc bag, and you go see the clowns.
When we went with Pete,
yeah,
we kind of stood underneath the balcony there.
Yeah,
we didn't really get wet.
That was great. There was an overhang at the Warfield in San Francisco. And all the cheerleaders kept hitting the overhang of the balcony. We're fine. It was great. I think we should talk about My Funhouse, because we got a few more songs here to talk about this week.
Hell yeah, we do.
Hey, Wicked Clown running the funhouse. Ain't no way to get out. So this chiller get your neck cut like a man. Pick a card, any motherfucking card. A Joker's card. Sorry, bitch. The luck of the draw. Ball and Jay's gonna have to ice your jaw.
All right, this song also starts with a very short skit, which is a weird skit about a cop actually insulting somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and guys, like, I've listened to this album. I've owned this album for, I don't even know, 20 years. Uh-huh. And I never put it together that the cops are comforting the girlfriend, I guess, of the guy who's the subject of the song.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's obviously clear, right? But I've listened to it a million times, and I thought it was just cops and, like, a lady for some reason that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it would make a lot more sense if it came at the end of the song.
Right.
But it would also break up the flow of what they're trying to accomplish with this song.
Right.
I thought it was the guy's mom.
Maybe it's his mom.
Yeah,
I told her never to come here.
But it's someone related to the person that they're talking about in the song.
So I don't really want to talk about what they do in the sketch, but what I will say is that it's horribly offensive. It's an awful thing to have written, and it also works.
Yes.
Oddly enough, it works. So, you know, who knows?
Different strokes.
But my.
Are you sure it wasn't a?
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Are you sure it wasn't a social commentary on police brutality and harassment of citizens?
Nope. I sure hope that it is.
I think the thing that makes it not a social commentary on cops is that the subject of what the cops are doing is receptive to it. Like, I think the fact that it works.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. It does.
Makes it not a satire.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's very striking to listen to this in what is happening right now in that climate.
Yeah,
that's true. So
this is a famous first, guys. Famous first.
Oh goodness, what is it?
The first time we're actually inside a dark carnival attraction.
Well, this is fun because then I think it was the last episode. Steve talked about this what would be upcoming as this repeated imagery of being inside of a mazy kind of type of house, fun house.
Yeah.
And it's also a ride, which is interesting. The guy has a ride with a cart and a track inside of his house in downtown Detroit.
Well, he'd like to go for a ride on the net cutter.
Right, and that's the name of the roller coaster that's inside of his house. The fun house has a roller coaster inside of it.
Right.
Isn't Merry-Go-Round in this one too, or is that in House of Mirrors?
No, it's
House of Mirrors.
we talked. Oh yeah, but we talked about the song "Merry-Go-Round," which is the second track. Which if "Merry-Go-Round" were made in any later than the second track on this album, it would be about an attraction at the Dark Carnival. But it's actually about the state of affairs in Detroit.
Right.
It's not a literal merry-go-round.
Right.
So this is the first actual Dark Carnival attraction that they take us inside of. Because even the Wax Museum, the opening track, just describes what the Wax Museum is. And it's like a traveling attraction that, like, when you die, when the Dark Carnival kills you, you get turned into wax, and they take the Wax Museum with them. It doesn't put you inside the Wax Museum.
You're correct.
But this is another legitimately, like, terrifying and horrifying and, like, vicious, like, they've created this tone incredibly well. It's a very, like, gore exploitation, like, grindhouse feel of, like, this crazy, like, almost torture porn horror movie that's going on, but it's in song form.
Yeah.
Also, homophobic slur. Probably the last time we hear it from ICP.
Yep, won't be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now they say it more.
All right, great. Good job, everybody. We did
it.
So this song is about this guy's house that is set up to kill people, and I guess it's I would assume it's set up to kill rich people who accidentally stumble into the neighborhood.
Right. They have to count on their cars breaking down in the ghetto.
Right.
Well, I'm sure they could sabotage their cars.
Because later on, the rides come along with the carnival, or the people are brought to the ride when they die. But in this one, it's just inside of his house, which is, not the best place to be effective at, killing a lot of people, I assume.
And they also make it clear that it's Violent J's funhouse.
Right. And there's rules. So this song features another sample, Rage Against the Machine, Bullet in the Head, the bass line from that song.
It's really crazy to me to think that Rage Against the Machine existed prior to this album existing, because this album, like Carnival of Carnage, felt like the oldest music ever written, and this album feels a little bit newer, but not much. But it's just crazy to me that Rage Against the Machine was already a thing when this album came out.
Right. Well, it would have not been a thing for very long, because I think it was 91 when their self-titled album came out. So, like, just a year or two before they would have been recording this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some quick work, guys. They're like, ooh, I like that Tim Bob bass line. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna sample that.
I also want to point out in this song, this is the third time already, just from Beverly Kills and the Ringmaster, that Shaggy does the same inflection of a Joker's card.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I love that they're already I really love that they're already doing this. I love that they're already planting the seeds of, like, this is going to be a thing. Like, they say 17 like 4 times in this song. Like,
I was going to say that. Yeah. And they talk about the bodies, 17 dead bodies never found. And then that, like, referencing a song off Carnival of Carnage, or...
Yeah. It's referencing a song off of...
Beverly Kills.
Beverly Kills, yeah.
They also do another thing in this, which is something that they do in later albums. I don't know, I didn't recognize if they did it before, which is where they kind of jump back and forth between talking about what's happening and then actually being there. So he's, like, rapping about the funhouse and what's happening, and then they cut to the, like, I don't know if they're, like, witches or whatever, the minions, I guess, that live in this funhouse. Right?
Yeah, this becomes a huge ICP thing later on, like, especially, like, in, I don't know if it's, I don't remember what song it is on Malenko, where the couples in the attraction, they're like, let's try another door, like.
Yeah, that's House of Horrors.
House of Horrors, yeah.
Welcome to the House of Horrors.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to that one.
I know, right? Oh, it's happening so soon. Okay.
I love Malenko. It's such a good album.
Yeah, it's great. Steve, I want to hear your more thoughts on Funhouse, if you have any.
Yeah, I mean, I like the song. It is, like you said, it's a pretty gory song. Some of the imagery is really funny to me still, though, like with talking about the 8 fingers in the mouth and 2 coming out his nose, and just really off the wall things. And it's just brutal. Like, you go to that room and they just jump on your back till your ribs crack. It's just so unnecessary.
The rooms that are dedicated to certain things are pretty hilarious. It's so fucking funny to me that they like cut off like this guy's fingers and like do all this stuff to him, then send him through a loop-de-loop into a big nail.
Right? Yeah. A nail through his whole head.
Yeah.
It's great.
And that was one of the things that was in my notes that I don't have here. But I remember is when, he doesn't die, and it's almost kind of reminding me like it's almost like a hellscape. You're almost in an alternate dimension, like you're going to be tortured and you're not going to die until they decide you're dead, I suppose.
Well, he lets him go. They just let him go at the end.
Yeah.
He gets to the end, they're like, all right, go on, get away. I don't want your dead body stinking up my funhouse. Yeah.
So they don't let him get away. They just throw his body out in the yard.
Well, I don't know, because then it goes to the demons or witches or whatever they are, and they're like, he's running away, he's scared, he's crying.
Yeah.
Well, I also like the real, like, legitimate, like, psychopathy of, like, them doing all this stuff to him and then be like, it's a fun house, everything's funny.
Yeah.
Also, I honestly can never tell when they're doing voices if it's an actual voice that they're able to do or if it's some kind of vocoder thing, like like synth, whatever. Because it's clearly Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope that are doing these voices, and it's just insane to me that they're both doing that. Because I think they're really just both doing that.
Well, they probably could at the time, but probably not now.
Right.
Also, I want to point out them taking a dead chicken and shoving it.
Okay, that's my favorite verse. That's my favorite verse. I love it. When he says, stuff it down your throat with a pitchfork, because you're a big gut. That's what you get for it. It's like not even words, man. How are you saying that?
Guttural. Just genius. Guttural hilarity.
No, genius writing, amazing flow. So good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to For the Maggots, which I believe is Steve's favorite song on the album.
One for the maggots, punk gets light. Every time his crew gets into a fight. If I somehow get stomped and kicked, I'm coming for your ass with an ice pick. Brick. One for the maggots, 2 for the bitch, 3 for the brick that smacks your lips. Cause you's a sneaky, creepy hoe. So don't fuck around, no.
And it's also tied for the shortest song on the album at 1 minute 47 seconds. And I, in my opinion, the famous verse of this song, and please feel free to correct me or point out something to me that I may have forgotten. I feel like this is their first actual rock-infused track. Like, I feel like this is their first track that really is like the rap rock that they would later become really known for.
So this is the track that I was specifically thinking of earlier when I said that they started to incorporate that kind of 90s grunge sound, which is exactly what it sounds like to me. I feel like I should have been wearing a flannel, and it's exactly that sound that they're bringing in. I feel like it's perfect for the time.
Yeah.
But you may not be surprised. The music from this was a sample from a band called Gong.
Gong.
So the song is called Bamboogie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's off of the album called Shamal, which I believe is an Arabian-themed progressive rock album.
Perfect.
So if you guys want to go listen to Bamboogie, it's another, like I said before, it's a swelling 11-minute long Arabian-influenced song. Amazing.
Steve, tell us about this song. Tell us about
I don't know why you think I liked this song.
Well, we were talking about it. I think we were talking about it last week, and you're like, "Oh, For the Maggots, I like that song."
No.
No, you didn't say that.
I don't believe I did.
Well, do you like this song?
No, not really. It's okay, I guess.
Perfect. Yeah, I have absolutely nothing to say about this song other than the observation about the rock grunge music.
Yeah, I was happy it was short.
Not every song on this album's a winner, you guys.
It's true.
No, but I really like the next song.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have anything further to add about For the Maggots before we move on to the next song? Our last song.
Let's fucking talk about Wagons.
Wagon Wagon.
Wagon, dead bodies dragging. Don't miss your chance. The exhaust pipe is dripping out of deli fire. I found an old dead corpse in the trunk next to the spare tire, and it's muffling the sounds. Throw the bitch out, now the funk pounds. Yo, some say it's just a hearse, but it's much worse.
Love this song. So as good as the flute was, as delicious and delectable as the flute, and Who Asked You? The horn in Wagon Wagon is maybe the best thing that's ever happened in my life.
The horn completely owns this song.
Yeah.
That's the note that I wrote.
For anyone who somehow hasn't listened to the song before listening to this podcast, which I'm sure makes the podcast just horrible and awful, at the end of almost every line in Wagon Wagon, they honk the horn on the wagon, and it has a sound somewhat reminiscent of and It's great. Absolutely great. And this is such an amazing concept for a song, and it's a song that paints such a glorious visual image. It is the wicked clowns who haul ass through towns in this fucked up wagon, going from town to town, and they make it clear this is the Ringmaster's car.
Oh yeah.
But they drive it from town to town, and I just get the best. It's basically like if a song was about like a Ratfink drawing.
Yes.
I just love it. It's fun, and it's got such wonderful imagery. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh. Yeah, no, I love the music. The music is fun. Like you said, it's just got great lines in it, and I like how they're picking up people to be on the wagon, but then towards the end of the song, it sounds like it's something you want, like it's gonna be a party, like get on the wagon.
Yeah.
But I like that on Great Malenko on the song "What Is a Juggalo," how they're cutting up. They have all the samples of songs, different lines from songs that are leading up to the beginning, and the last line is in this song where he says, "Now shut your ass up and let the juggalo sing," and then it goes right to the music of "What is a Juggalo?" And so hearing that in this song, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
There's the movie title.
It's so good. It's so good.
That is a fun thing.
I also, Famous First, this is the first song to say Clown Love.
That's nice.
In the context that they, like, MCL context, much Clown Love.
Yeah, man. I just feel like this is another one that fucking rules, man. It's so much, it's so much fun. Like, all the imagery, like you were saying, I was thinking of the, White Zombie Dragula video, or like the Munsters. Like, it's definitely the, like, what's that cartoon race show?
Wacky Racers?
Was that what it was called? Wacky Racers?
The Hanna-Barbera one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I picture is like they're that team, and they're all in this weirdly oversized car that's got
like the Dastardly and Muttley team?
Yeah. Seems like so much fun, man.
But this car has a clown curse on it.
Well, and it's
an old dark bucket with a clown curse, and it's
long, dark, spooky, scary.
It's really scary.
It's really funny to think that they mean dark bucket literally.
Oh yeah, no, it's a piece of shit, and it's dragging the whole time. It's dragging a bunch of dead bodies behind it.
I also can't believe that they invented spooky scary like 50 years before 30 Rock.
Oh well, spooky scary they use it more than once. It's gonna come in later albums.
Also, Violet J, I hope he gets well soon because he's sick in the nug bone.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, correct me if I'm wrong, but your nugget is your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be your head, which is your skull?
It would only explain how he could drink 40 ounces of Bloody Mary.
That's true. So he drinks a full 40 bottle, but he's full of Bloody Mary.
He also, and I can't remember which song it was, earlier, maybe on Carnival of Carnage, where he says there's 17 clowns in the Volkswagen or whatever, 17 clowns in the car. So he references 17 again when he says there's, I'm not going to tell you how many clowns are inside the wagon. I told you 17, but I lied.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy every time I think about this song, to say nothing of listening to it, because it's just like the image it conjures up of this like fucking gigantic, like multi-story vehicle just like rocking so horrifyingly from side to side with people and dead bodies hanging off of it as they like bump this music of the wagon and honk this horn. And it's almost like the Electric Mayhem, like in Great Muppet Caper, like just having the best time. They're gonna murder all these people.
Yeah, and they so the last note that I wrote for myself is that they're having such a good time, and Jay finally gets to that they're hotboxing this car the whole time. But it's not his pot, because at this point in his life, Violent J is very anti-pot. Right. He's never done it, not interested. But maybe Shaggy dabbled or something. I don't really know. But later on, as Steve is well aware, because he really likes that album, he does a whole concept album about being a pothead.
Well, but Violent J's always like referenced weed and like been cool with people who smoke weed, because I believe it's because largely like a lot of the people he hangs out with, but he knows like probably 95% of the people who listen to his music do that. So he has always positioned himself as cool with it.
Absolutely, for sure. It's just notable because he explicitly says it's not mine. Like when we roll down the windows, it's gonna smell like hella pot in here, but right. It's not mine.
Right. In case you listen to this, Mom, I hate you, but I don't smoke weed. Right. I also just want to point out, like, because I'm wicked and I'm wild. Wicked wild. And he caught a wild deer, guys.
There's a couple times where I made notes about this section of this grouping of songs about how much fun they seem to be having. And it's really contagious, and it was just a really good time to listen to these songs.
Any final thoughts on Wagon Wagon before we wrap it up for this week? I just love it so much. You guys should all go listen to Wagon Wagon again.
I'm going to right now.
All right, listeners. Next week for your assignment for the end of the Ringmaster is going to be to listen to the end of the Ringmaster, tracks 12 through 16. It's the Loons, Love Song, Bugs on My Nugs, House of Mirrors, and Ringmaster's Word. There's a few real good songs in there. So I'm excited to wrap up the Ringmaster as we wrap up the second Joker's card.
Joker's card.
There it is. Before we forgot it, sorry, I just randomly remembered, in my Funhouse, Steve, you were talking about how some of the imagery reminds you of other imagery, and it reminded me of, like, when he was talking about chopping off the guy's fingers and sticking them in his mouth, it reminded me of, I feel like the first lyric that fully got me on board with ICP, which you made sure to point out to me when we were listening to Great Malenko on the floor of my dad's house in the living room in Salinas, was about cutting your finger off, putting it up someone's butthole and gluing it shut.
Glue it shut. Yeah, then there's the noise.
There it is. Like, you pointed that out to me, and we probably laughed for like 2 minutes. But
yeah.
Good times. And that's what this journey through the Dim Carnival is meant to me, is good times with my friends and making me remember why we love this stupid band and how much fun it can be when it's fun and how much of a drag it can be when it isn't.
Hell yeah.
But we'll see you next week for the end of The Ringmaster. You can check us out at Dim Carnival on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to send us some mail, dimcarnival@gmail.com. And I don't know where you can find these guys, but you can find me on Twitter at Sunday Motel. And until next week, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And if you go out there in the streets, guys, make sure you don't pull the Joker's card. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. So can you hear the music that's playing?
Right now?
Yes.
What music?
Okay. That's unfortunate.
Trying to play some music so that we can listen to it.
Well.
Hi, Steve.
Wow,
Hello.
This is amazing.